Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove and I'm back with this week's No Filter Q&A. This is the episode where I answer all questions related to diet, training, and supplementation that I've received over the last 7 days from our in-house clients, online clients, as well as a few of our online followers. Remember, if you have any questions related to your workout program, nutritional plan, supplements you're taking, not taking, considering taking, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM me on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. All right, let's get started with this week's No Filter Q&A with question number 1. Nick, how many days a week should I be lifting weights if I want to see results? So if you're new to the gym and you're new to lifting weights, you can get away with seeing quite significant results just by training 2, 3 times a week. Because you have to remember, if you're completely new to the gym and you haven't put any overload or any stress on your muscles as far as weightlifting is concerned, you will see results just by going to the gym 2, 3 times a week. So that's something I always tell new clients, especially if they don't have any training experience whatsoever. I say, you don't need to be in the gym 5, 6 days a week. Now, here's the thing though, as you progress with your training, 6 months, 12 months later, you're going to hit a plateau. At that point, you might want to start adding on more days, more volume to your workouts. Okay. So for example, if you're someone who goes to the gym 2, 3 days a week and you take that split up to 5 days a week, you can turn your whole program into a training split with 1 day chest, 1 day back, 1 day shoulders, 1 day arms, 1 day legs. And you can fit some abs in there once or twice a week as well. That will allow you to hit each muscle with more volume and give more priority to each muscle group, right? Whereas if you're training 2, 3 days a week, you're going to have to combine those muscles together. So you're not going to be able to hit each muscle with as much volume. So you're not going to experience the same amount of benefits from training 2, 3 days a week versus 5, 6 days a week. But like I said, if you're new to the gym, 2, 3 days a week is more than enough. But if you're someone who's more experienced, more advanced, and you've been training for a few years, you might want to up that frequency. Okay. And it really depends on your expectations and how far you want to take your physique. Because if you're training 2, 3 days a week, not only will you look better, but you'll feel better. You'll have more energy. You'll sleep better, right? You'll have higher libido. I've talked about this before. So there's numerous benefits to weightlifting besides just the outer appearance, right? The physical attributes. You also have to look at the mental benefits, right? And the internal benefits. So it's important to realize that too. So like I said, realistically, if you're new to the gym 2, 3 times a week, that's more than enough. But if you have hit that plateau and you've been training 6 months to a year, my recommendation, take your training up to 4, 5, or even 6 days a week. Give yourself 1 day off a week if you need it. If you don't, train 7 days a week. I've talked about this in the past too. I personally, right now, I haven't taken a day off in a month and a half, but I'm strategically training, right? I'm going into each workout methodically. I'm always thinking ahead. What am I going to train today? I don't train the same muscle group every day. I don't do the same exercises every day. So as long as you program accordingly and plan strategically, you can train as much as you like. Just be smart. Okay. Nick, I heard you say that you think intermittent fasting is a healthy diet. How come you don't do it though? I think intermittent fasting is a very healthy diet. I think it's a very healthy way to eat. Absolutely. One of the reasons why it's so healthy is because it really helps keep our body in what we call an alkaline state, right? And if your body's in an alkaline state, it's very difficult for cancer cells to survive, right? So I've talked about this numerous times in the past with intermittent fasting, is that, if you allow your body to starve, it'll actually fight off cancer cells from forming. There's a lot of research backing this, okay? Now, the reason why I don't do intermittent fasting is because it's not ideal for building muscle and losing fat. Okay, so it's kind of like, well, what do? Do you want to go for just the health component, or do you also want to go for the physical, right? And for myself personally, if I were to fast, I wouldn't be able to lift as much weight in the gym. I wouldn't have as much energy when I'm with my workouts. I wouldn't put on the amount of muscle I have. I'd have a hard time losing stubborn body fat. So that's why I don't do intermittent fasting. Okay. But I've always told people, I'm not against it. Just remember though that, it's going to be very difficult to build muscle and lose fat if you're following a nutritional plan like that. But again, if you're someone who's going through, let's say, cancer treatments, radiation, chemotherapy, it can be very beneficial and something I would definitely talk with your doctor about, because there are numerous studies that show the benefits of intermittent fasting, right? And as I mentioned in the past, true intermittent fasting, you're looking at about a 20-hour fast. So 3 to 4 hours of eating, window of eating, and then that 20 hours of not eating anything at all. Okay. So that's true intermittent fasting. And yeah, I do think it can be a very healthy way to eat. Okay. And something maybe I'll do as I get older, but for now, I like to do my 5 to 6 meals a day. I find that works best for my lifestyle and my training program. Okay. Nick, how long should I rest in between sets? Uh, I don't recommend a certain time and say, okay, 30 seconds and then that's it, or 45 seconds and that's it. What I usually tell people in the gym is how long you should rest is based on how you feel. So you always gauge it. So on, let's say, level 1, you feel like, oh my God, I'm tired. I need a second. I'm like burnt out. My muscles are aching. You're exhausted. And 10 is I feel fantastic. Now, when you start to feel like maybe a 7, that's when you should go again. So you don't want to go when you feel like a 2 because you're not going to be recovered, right? But at the same time, you don't want to go when you feel like a 10 because you're not going to actually recruit any more muscle fibers to get contractions or stimulate muscle growth, right? Because if you're constantly recovered, you're not going to build more muscle because muscle only forms and grows when it's adapted and when it's put under stress and pressure, when it's forced to grow, right? So if you're taking a 5-minute rest period, for example, your muscles are most likely fully recovered and therefore you're not going to grow any new muscle. So there, you have to find that happy medium. So what I usually tell people is go when you feel like a 7 out of 10. Okay. So about 70% recovered. That's a good gauge. Now, everyone's different. Some people recover faster than others. Obviously, the longer you've trained, the more advanced you are as a lifter, the less rest you're going to need, right? Your cardiovascular endurance will become more efficient, more effective, more better, right? So it's kind of like you have to just pick the time zone that works best for you. If anything, what I see in the gym is a lot of times people are taking too long of a rest period. They get caught up on their phone, they're cruising Instagram, looking at TikTok videos, 3 or 4 minutes go by. That to me is not building muscle. Okay. That's just wasting your time in the gym because you're going when you're fully recovered. So I wouldn't recommend doing that. Okay. So gauge it. What I typically do with my clients is we do a lot of circuit training in the gym. So I'll have them do 3 or 4 stations in a row with no rest in between. And then I'll give them anywhere from a minute to 90 seconds. I don't time the rest period unless it's a group class, but if it's a private training session or partner training session, I just tell them come back into the circuit when you're about 70% recovered. And that works for most people. Okay. Next question. Nick, I'm currently training in the gym 5 days a week for about 60 minutes each workout. Is there anything I can do, supplements or diet-wise, to help maximize my gains? Well, I'd have to look at your supplement protocol and your nutritional plan to tell you what you need to fix or what you need to add in or what you need to take out. But as far as supplementation goes, I was talking about this with a client actually earlier today, is the only true way to know what your supplement protocol should be is if you go for blood work and see what you're deficient in. Okay, so I recently went for blood work a few weeks ago and I noticed I had a zinc deficiency. So now I've been supplementing with zinc to bring that up, right? But I'm only taking the zinc because I'm deficient in it. If I'm working with someone that doesn't have a zinc deficiency, I'm not going to recommend they take zinc. So that's the only way to really know what supplements you should be taking, what vitamins you should be taking, what minerals you should be taking. But if you don't want to go for blood work or you just can't be bothered going for blood work, then I just recommend a standard supplement protocol for most people, which is omega-3s, vitamin C, vitamin D. I think as long as you have those three, and I call them supplements, not just vitamins, because I do think you're supplementing those vitamins in with your nutritional plan. So I always kind of group the supplements and vitamins together. I think you're fine. Okay. And then you throw in a good whey isolate protein powder, and that's more than enough. You don't need to buy a whole pharmacy of supplements and pills and vitamins and minerals. You don't need all that. Okay. But the only true way to know what supplements and what vitamins you need is if you go for blood work and you see what you're deficient in. Okay. Now, when it comes to your nutritional program, lean proteins, healthy fats, complex carbs. I know it sounds boring, but that's the way to go. How much? Well, that will depend on multiple factors. Your current lifestyle, your current body weight, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to gain weight, so there's all these factors you have to take into consideration when designing a nutritional plan. Now, if you are interested in working with a coach that can help you design a nutritional plan that has been customized specifically for you, you can always reach out to me at nick@foreverfitperformance.com or DM me on my Instagram, fitcosgrove_, and I'd be happy to help you set up a nutritional plan that's designed specifically for your goals, your lifestyle, and what you like and what you don't like as far as foods. Because there's a lot of times that I work with people who say, Nick, I can't stomach fish, so I don't put fish on their plan, right? But I always find something else that I can put on their plan. Okay. So it's important that when you're following a nutritional plan that you consume foods that you know you can eat. Okay. You don't want to follow a diet plan full of foods that you hate because chances are you won't stick to it. Okay. So don't go crazy on protein, usually about 1.5 grams per weight. Okay. Don't go crazy on fats, but usually I recommend take whatever your body weight is and divide it by 2, and that's how much fats you should start off with, gram wise. And carbohydrates, I usually take someone's body weight and I times it by 2, and that's what I start off with for grams. Okay. So more information on that, just reach out to me through email or Instagram. Okay. Nick, I just finished competing in my first fitness competition a few weeks ago and now find myself struggling to get back to the gym and stay on my diet. How do you keep your clients that compete motivated to train and eat clean when there are no upcoming competitions? I struggled with this earlier on in my competition days. I put everything in getting ready for a show. I just trained with the utmost amount of intensity. I was laser focused on this one show, getting ready for it for 16 weeks. Then it got down to 12 weeks and 8 weeks and 4 weeks, 2 weeks. And then the show came. I won. But at what cost? Because as soon as I got off stage, I'm like, man, I need to take a break from the gym. So the original plan was to take 1 week off from the gym. Biggest mistake I ever made because it was really hard to get back into training again. My body was just so burnt out and I was so depleted. I put everything into this competition. And once the competition was over, I felt like I had nothing left to train for. And so, it's pretty common. It's, post-show depression. It's very common amongst athletes. So this is why I always tell people is when you're getting ready for not just a competition, but any event, whether it's your wedding, whether it's you're going on a vacation, you want to get ready for a photo shoot, whatever it is, you have to have an exit strategy and you have to have a bigger goal. So you can't just be thinking it's all about this date, because you have to keep thinking, okay, once this date passes, what's next? And this is why I always tell people you keep making goals. Okay, so it's good to have one long-term goal and a couple of short-term goals. But once that long-term goal starts getting closer and closer to you achieving that goal, you have to start thinking in the back of your mind, okay, what's my next goal? Right. And it might not even be a competition. Maybe you never want to compete again because you're not going to be able to compete for the rest of your life. There's going to come a time where you're going to want to leave the stage. And so you're going to have to find some other motivating factor. So that's why I always tell clients is find something that motivates you to get your ass back in the gym. And it doesn't always have to be something external. It doesn't have to be, well, I want to get a bigger chest or I want to build a better butt. It could be like, you know what? I want to feel better. I want to have more energy. This is good for my mental health. So try to go with that because that's what I hold on to now these days. I'm not getting ready for any bodybuilding shows, but at the same time, I'm still training every day, right? And it's because I look at the long-term benefits. So I have a long-term goal, and never satisfied with just the status quo. So for me, it's no longer about building the best physique. It's more about, I want to live a long, healthy life. How can I do this? Oh, go to the gym, eat a clean diet, get enough sleep, get enough rest, hydrate myself. That's how I live the lifestyle I want to live. And that's how I live into a long, healthy life, hopefully. Okay. So it's important to focus on not just the short-term goal, but the long-term goal and to keep making goals. Okay. Don't just go on maintenance mode. Keep making goals. I always find when people just go on maintenance mode, they get kind of relaxed, they get lackluster in their training. It's easy to miss a few workouts. So I don't recommend anyone go on maintenance mode. Nick, my old coach used to give me one cheat day each week. I noticed that you only recommend 1 to 2 cheat meals on your diet plans. Why is that? I'm a firm believer that a cheat day can sabotage your results. Okay. And that includes if you're trying to gain weight as well. Because the problem is when you go for a whole cheat day, and that's like 24 hours of just eating whatever you want, just pure gluttony, you're going to wake up the next day and chances are you're going to feel like crap. You're going to be in like a food coma, right? I call it a food hangover. So it's like when you go out drinking, have a big night of drinking, the next day you kind of feel like crap. That's what happens when you eat a lot of junk crap food. Saying if you eat clean all week, you eat clean 6 days a week, and then you take that 7th day to eat whatever you want. You're having pancakes, you're having waffles, you're having pizza, you're having cake, you're having burgers, fries, you name it. What's going to happen is your body is so used to eating all that clean food all week, and then you throw in all that junk food, your body's not going to know what to do with it. And it's going to reject it. It's going to make you feel ill. You're going to feel bloated. You're going to feel very lethargic. You're going to get moody. Your insulin levels are going to crash. Your blood sugar levels are going to spike. And that doesn't just happen for that one day. That's going to carry on for the next 2 or 3 days. And that's why I don't recommend that, okay? Because those 2 or 3 days post cheat day are going to affect your training in the gym. You're not going to train with the same amount of intensity. How can you? How can you train with a lot of intensity if you're feeling bloated and lethargic? You can't. So that's why I tell people 1 cheat meal. Okay. If you're not getting ready for any specific event and you're just saying, Nick, I'm just training, I want to be healthy and fit. Sure, you can have 2 cheat meals. I see nothing wrong with that. But I don't recommend doing cheat days for those reasons, okay? Because it can really throw off a whole week of dieting. Another thing is, as a reminder for the cheat meal, I typically recommend people have their cheat meal as the last meal of the day, okay? The reason I recommend that is because if it's the last meal of the day, you're going to be less likely to crave more bad food later on. It's like when you go out and you have an ice cream. Well, it felt really good, but most people after a few hours are craving more sugar, right? So then you might have something else. You might go and have like a box of cookies, and then you might say, "Oh, now I want like a hamburger." So, because what's happening is your insulin levels are going like this, and your blood sugar levels are going like this. So you want to make sure you have that as your last meal of the day, and then you just go to bed. You wake up and you start all over on the diet again, right? And I find that's what works best for most people, regardless if you're training for a bodybuilding show or a photo shoot or a wedding, or you're just training for life. I find the 1 to 2 cheat meals a week work best for pretty much everyone. So I would not recommend a cheat day. I think that's just going to sabotage your results. Okay. Next question. Nick, I need to lose 5 pounds in 3 days. What would be the healthiest way to do this? My honest opinion is there is no healthy way to do this. Okay. Can it be done? Yes, but it's not healthy. Okay. So if you really need to lose, 5 pounds in 3 days, I'm going to tell you right now that most of the 5 pounds you're going to lose is going to be water. Okay. It's going to be water weight. But typically, if someone needs to lose weight, like if I'm getting someone ready for a show or for a fight, and they need to drop weight very quickly, what I'll typically do is I'll put them on what I call a protein veg diet, where I'll take out the carbohydrates and I'll really, really reduce the amount of fats in their diet. So they're doing just primarily lean protein throughout the day. But you're not going to lose 5 pounds of body fat. You're going to lose mostly water because carbohydrates hold on to water. So if you take the carbs out of your diet, your body's not going to hold on to water. If you talk to most people who run a ketosis diet, they'll tell you that they're usually going to the bathroom every hour because their body's not holding on to the water. They're just peeing it right out. So that's why if you're going to go on like a crash diet, my recommendation is to take out the carbohydrates, lower the fats, and elevate the proteins. Okay. And that will work. And you know what? Drink lots of water because the more water you drink, the more water your body releases. I used to tell people that all the time, and I still tell people that all the time when they're getting ready for a competition, and they always think I'm nuts. They're like, well, I don't want to hold water. I'm like, well, then drink more water. Because the only way you're not going to hold water is if your body's relaxed and it allows yourself to get rid of water. If you're dehydrated or you're really trying to control your portions of water that you're drinking, your body's going to hold on to that water, right? So we don't want that. We don't want that film of water. So that's my recommendation. Okay. Although I would not recommend that as a long-term solution. Okay. Very short-term, very crash diet. It's not healthy by any means because as soon as you get off that plan of all protein, low fats, and no carbs, you're going to put the weight back on again. Okay. So it's not a long-term solution. But if whatever you're preparing for, if you have to make weight for a competition, maybe you're doing a fight, whatever it is, if you're doing a dance or something, I don't know what, but if you know you have to get down that weight, that would be my recommendation. And of course, cardio. You throw in your 30 minutes of cardio in a fasted state in the morning and try to throw in 30 minutes post-workout. That will definitely help as well. Just remember though, those 5 pounds that you're losing in 3 days, I would say that 80% of it will be water. Okay. Nick, does it frustrate you when your clients don't make changes in their bodies? No. My number one goal is that my clients are satisfied with their results. So I have a lot of people that come to work with me who just want to live a healthy and active lifestyle. Now, some of my clients are in their 60s and 70s, and they don't really care about having six-pack abs. They don't care about building this massive chiseled chest. They just want to live healthy and have an active lifestyle. So for them, it's not necessarily about making physical changes, right? It's more about, again, the internal benefits and the mental component that goes into living an active and fit lifestyle. So I think I get frustrated for clients if they're not achieving their goals. And I know it's a barrier, whether it's a mental barrier or maybe a physical limitation that's stopping them from achieving their goals. I get frustrated for them, but I don't get frustrated myself because I do everything I possibly can to help my clients achieve their goals. Okay. So whether that goal is getting ready for a competition or whether that goal is just getting ready for a beach vacation, I want to make sure that I do everything I can to help that person get to that next level and achieve those health and fitness goals. So as long as I'm doing everything that I possibly can, I'm not going to get frustrated with the person. Now, if the person's not listening to what I'm telling them to do, well, that's on the person, right? Most people I work with know that. If I give someone a 12-week nutritional plan and they send me a check-in and say, well, I only stuck to the diet 2 days this week. I'm like, okay, well, that's on you. And they know that, right? They're not going to blame me for not achieving their results if they're not sticking to the plan. I've never really had anyone blame me for not achieving their goals, because again, I'm going to give someone all of my undivided attention and energy. So it doesn't frustrate me. If anything, it frustrates me when I know that someone is working hard and it's taking a little bit longer for them, but I'm frustrated for them. I'm not frustrated with them. Okay. But most people I work with, I'm really lucky because most people that I work with, actually everyone I work with, they want to work with me and they take their goals really seriously. So there's no screwing around, right? And if people, if they don't show up for a workout or they screw up on their diet, they know it's on them. It's not on me. We're adults here, right? So they're not going to blame me. If they show up for a session and I'm 15 minutes late for that session, or I'm just not in the session that day, I'm on my phone or I'm not paying attention, then that's on me. And in that case, they should fire me. But that doesn't happen. It'll never happen. So I don't get frustrated with my clients. I just get frustrated for my clients, especially the ones who I know are working really hard. And the results do come, but sometimes the results just come faster for some people than others. And that's just genetics, right? So fortunately, that's the luck of the draw, right? Some people have better genetics than other people. And sometimes people just grow muscle faster and lose fat faster. But as long as you're consistent and as long as you're focused, you will get there. I promise you, you will get there. You might not get there as fast as some other people, but you will get there. All right, two more questions. Nick, do you have any tips to help me from procrastinating with my workouts? I always end up missing or talking myself out of going to the gym at least 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm getting annoyed with myself for it. You need to program your workouts into your day like any other meeting. Okay. It has to become a non-negotiable for you. Okay. You cannot allow yourself to negotiate with yourself, say, oh, I'm going to miss the gym today. So one thing I do, and I know I'm at a bit of an advantage here because I work in a gym, but I always program my workout in my schedule the week ahead of time. So if I'm like, oh, I look at my schedule, I'm like, okay, Monday, I have an opening at 9 a.m. I'm going to schedule my workout in. I don't care if someone wants to book a session with me. I've now booked that session for myself as a workout. And that's very important. So you have to program a workout into your day like any other important meeting. Okay. And that means that you have to wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning to do it. You've got to get into that mentality of this is my workout. This is my long-term goal. This is for my health. This is for my physique. I have to take this seriously. Most people who have jobs take their job seriously. So if you have a meeting with a client, you're not going to miss it. So you have to now change your mindset towards your workouts in that same mindset and go, no, now I'm doing this for me, for my body, for my health. So that's what you have to do. It has to become a non-negotiable. Okay. So this is one thing I always tell clients. I'm like, when you book a session with me, this is why we have a 24-hour cancellation policy, because this was what helps hold people accountable. Because if someone misses a session and they don't give me 24-hour notice, they know they're going to be charged. So no one wants to get charged $100, $150 for something that they're not attending, right? So there's that extra incentive when you have a trainer, especially if you have a trainer that's holding you accountable. Okay, and it's not just about the money, but it's also like you have a meeting with someone, right? So if you're finding it really hard to stick to the gym on your own, you might want to look into purchasing some training sessions of a personal trainer that will hold you accountable. Because chances are you're not going to want to be charged for missing a session, and you also don't want to let someone down who is scheduling time out of their own day to work with you, right? I'd feel terrible doing that if I scheduled something with someone and I just didn't show up. So it does help hold you accountable. So if you're someone that finds that you procrastinate and you're talking yourself out of going to the gym, I think it's a wise decision to invest in a personal trainer. Do your research, look for someone who's, experienced, has tons of knowledge, comes with tons of referrals, tons of Google reviews, and that's the person that you should be trying to work with. Okay. Because I tell you what, in this industry, there's a lot of flaky trainers out there. And in this day and age, you need to work with someone who will definitely hold you accountable. Okay. You don't want to work with someone who they themselves aren't accountable. So, ask for credentials, ask for reviews, ask to see referrals, ask for testimonials from other clients, right? Just book a few sessions with them first to see if you guys vibe well together. But that's my recommendation. If you're finding it hard to get yourself to the gym on your own, hire a personal trainer. I promise you it's a good investment. This is not a waste of money. It's only a waste of money if you hire a shitty personal trainer. But if you hire someone who is reputable, knowledgeable, and experienced, to me, that's the best investment you'll ever make in your health. All right, last question. Nick, I'm really overweight and I don't know how to lift weights. I'm very self-conscious about joining the gym and worry that people will judge me. If I were to purchase a couple of dumbbells and train at home, could I honestly lose some weight? Good question. First off, I want to say good for you, first of all, for wanting to make the effort to actually take accountability over your health and over your weight. Okay. And I do understand, because I work with a lot of people who are overweight. And I do understand how difficult it can be for someone who is feeling self-conscious about their weight to go to the gym. It's a big step because you do feel like you're being judged. You feel like everyone's looking at you. I can assure you, though, that no one's looking at you. No one's judging you. In my 20 plus years of working in gyms, both commercial gyms and private gyms, everyone is so focused on what they're doing, right? You might get a few assholes who, they might stare at you or they might make snarky comments, but you know what? Screw them. If I were you, I would just say, fuck it. And I'm just going to go to the gym and train. I'm just going to put my headphones on and I'm just going to zone in and train. Now, here's the thing. You can definitely get results though. If you're going to set up a home gym with some dumbbells, you can. Will they be significant results? Probably not, because when you go to a gym that has cables and has like benches and has balls and squat racks, when I say balls, like Bosu balls, Swiss balls, squat racks, and they've got lots of dumbbells that go up to like 80 pounds, 100 pounds, you're going to get better results because you have more variety in your workouts. But again, if you're someone who's new to lifting weights, you, just like I said in the first question, you will see some changes in your physique and you'll notice some changes internally just by exercising at home. For sure, you will. But don't expect to see significant changes if all you have are a pair of dumbbells. Another disadvantage that you have is that you don't know how to train with weights. So yes, you could go on YouTube. Yes, you could use my online coaching app. You can look at all these tutorial videos. But again, my recommendation is, especially if you are new to lifting weights, hire a personal trainer just for 4 or 6 sessions, just so you can learn proper form and execution technique. Again, it's a good investment. If you can't afford to work with a trainer year round, just book a 6-session package and then you learn some things from that trainer that you can take to your own workouts. Again, it's a good investment. And then you'll actually see some changes in your physique. But I do understand where you're coming from because I have a lot of people who are self-conscious about their physiques. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people hire personal trainers, because they can work in a private training facility. So they don't have to worry about working in an overly crowded commercial gym, right? That's one of the advantages of training at a private studio. But again, if that doesn't work for you, whether it's for financial reasons or whether just maybe you just don't feel comfortable going anywhere right now, you can make changes with those dumbbells. My recommendation, get a pair of 5s, get a pair of 8s, get a pair of 10s, get a pair of 12s, 15s, and 20s, and work with those sets of dumbbells. Go on YouTube, download my coaching app, watch some tutorial videos. That will help. However, I do think working with someone one-on-one, maybe even have a trainer come to your house just to teach you, again, proper form and technique with the dumbbells that you do have, with the equipment that you have available to you, that will help as well. And there's a lot of trainers out there that do outcalls. I personally don't do outcalls. I have everyone come to my downtown training facility in downtown Vancouver. But I know there's a lot of trainers that do outcalls and go to people's home gyms all the time. When I first started in this industry, I used to do that. So it can be done. So that's my recommendation. But honestly, do not worry about what other people think. Who gives a fuck what other people think? I'm sorry to swear, but really, who gives a fuck? You are there trying to make a change for your life, for your health, right? And the fact that you're just going to the gym, it shows that you're taking a step and you're holding yourself accountable, right? And that's huge. So anyone that's going to judge that, they're not worth your time, right? So ignore it. And that's the great thing about headphones. You can block out everything. You can block out all the noise, get tunnel vision, just focus on what you're doing, okay? But I do think you would benefit from working with a trainer just for a few sessions and, bring that trainer to your house, have that trainer set up a home workout program for you, and just go from there. That's my recommendation to you. Anyway, that's it for this week's No Filter Q&A. This episode will be going up on Tuesday, February the 20th. As a reminder, if you do have any questions pertaining to your workouts, nutritional plan, supplements you're taking, not taking, considering taking, please feel free to email me those questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for supporting the YouTube channel. Thank you for supporting my online coaching app. Thank you for supporting my in-house personal training business. And I will see you all next week. Bye for now.